my bad.
Man, if you want stability being in the military, while traveling the world is fun, you're going to do a lot of once you say anyway, but if you want to stability, you might no documents.
Yeah, I need a doctor's note, so for like 2 days or something.
Yeah, I'm here at the Helicopter Expo in Anaheim, and I'm interviewing two chief warrant officers from Fort Rucker. Okay, can you identify yourself, please?
I'm Series 4 Chuck Villanita, United States Army Aviation.
Sidway 3, Eric Rowan, United States Army Aviation.
Okay, you guys can answer, whoever wants to answer this, but what I'm here for is to interview you for potential warrant officer flight training applicants. What is it that they can expect to go through during that process?
So it's actually a fairly simple process. It may take a little longer than most people would expect it to, but it begins with going to go see your local Army recruiter, letting them know that you're interested in a warrant officer flight training program, and they will pretty much start you off from there. And it begins with taking an ASVAB. You got to score a 110 on the Army GT. You also have to score a 40 on the Selection Instrument for Flight Training, or the SIFT, followed by a Class 1 flight physical.
Okay, and what can you add, sir?
After they complete their physical, it'll go to Fort Rucker for a waiver or approval status. If they meet the qualifications, it can be stamped off by the flight surgeon, and then it'll be sent back to the applicant for submission for a warrant officer selection board. At the selection board, they are either qualified or not qualified at that time. Upon qualification, they get notified at their in-processing location with the recruiter that they interviewed with, and they will be offered the opportunity to go to Fort Rucker to attend flight school.
What can you tell us about the tests that the applicants would take along the way? Can you tell us what a SIFT test is?
So the SIFT test is a Selection Instrument for Flight Training. It's basically a tool that we use to measure the aptitude in aviation. The ASVAB is a standard Army ASVAB that we pull the GT table from the ASVAB looking for a score of no more than 110.
Okay, what can you tell us about the SIFT test? What type of questions are on it, and how can applicants study and prepare for it?
So the SIFT can be anywhere from mathematical equations. It could be aerodynamic questions. It could be any type of aerospace questions. It could be airspace control type questions. It could have a bunch of gears on there, mechanical drawings, reading and arithmetic. I think I mentioned math already. Comprehension might be in there as well. Your standard tests that you might see even on a college entry level exam.
What type of study materials might be available?
So the United States Army currently do not endorse any type of study material out there because it wasn't written by the United States Army. So at this point, I would probably just say it's an aptitude test. So if your aptitude's not there, and then studying for it is not a true source of an aptitude, I guess. But there are study guides out there. Again, the United States Army do not endorse it. And I would say just take a deep dive into just general aviation, fundamentals of flight, instrument flight training, wherever you can get your hands on it, whether it be through FAA publications. And again, I gotta say, we do not endorse them, but use them as appropriate that you think might prepare you for the test.
Okay, what can you tell us about the Street to Seat program that's available for students in high school right now?
So the Streets to Seat program is available for students that have completed high school with a high school degree and/or have college degree as well. They're able to apply. They contact a recruiter as the first step in the program. After they contact that recruiter, they will start putting a packet for them together. They will process all the appropriate paperwork, get the letters, and complete the appropriate test at that time.
And how long does it usually take for someone to put a packet together? And what happens with that packet once it's completed?
A packet putting together is dependent on the individual. No packet will be the same. Estimated time may be somewhere between a 3 to 6 month window to gather all your information, get your flight physicals completed, and return back from Fort Rucker. Once it's complete, your recruiter will submit it to USAREC. It'll be uploaded into a system, and then it'll be processed for a warrant officer selection board.
Once an applicant is selected for the program, what can you tell us about the training that they're going to receive?
Okay, so if they're selected for the program, they'll get advised within 10 days after the board is convened. Recruiters will set them up with a basic training date. That's roughly 10 weeks long. If they successfully negotiate basic training, they'll move on to the Warrant Officer Academy. That's held at Fort Rucker, and that's currently it's a 5-week course. Once they complete the 5-week course there at Fort Rucker, they'll get their commissioning source as a W1. It is a commissioning source, so they'll get promoted to W1, and shortly after that, they'll begin the initial phases of flight school.
What type of aircraft is the Army using now for their training aircraft?
Currently, the Army is using what they know in civilian sectors, the EC-145, known to the military as the LUH 72 Alpha Lakota.
After somebody graduates, after a warrant officer graduates from the program, how is the selection made as to what aircraft they can fly after graduation?
Aircraft selection's done, it's based off your primary 1 and primary 2 scores. You have academic evaluations during this whole time period, you have flight evaluations, and you have an APFT, your physical fitness test. All those scores combined will process you into the order of merit list, and if you have a number of 20 in your class, being number 1, it pays dividends to do your best in all your academics. Upon completion of primary 1 and 2, you'll move on to your aircraft selection, and you will have the opportunity to select a Black Hawk, a Chinook, an Apache, or the C-12.
And is it possible for somebody to select a fixed-wing aircraft course after that?
The selection will be during that time. The C-12 is our fixed-wing aircraft at that time.
I see. Okay, and are there any tips that you can pass along to those who are going to begin this process?
I would say always go into it with a good attitude. Everyone, if you're already starting a process and your heart is there, your ambition is there, keep the attitude straight. Have a little bit of patience. Sometimes the application process can be lengthy depending on who you are, where you are. Location has a lot to do with it as well. Stay in good communication with your recruiter. And so that in any event that they need to make corrections to your packet and to get that process going, put in dates in time, try to look at your calendar and had forecasted out for about 6 months so you know where you're available to do such things like flight physical, any type of entry exams that you need to do. And then once that process is complete, stay in good physical condition, stay out of trouble as the other hint to that, and that'll prepare you just for that. Should you get selected to go to the Warrant Flight Training Program, that'll prepare you to at least make it through basic training in good physical, mental, and spiritual and emotional condition.
How many slots are open per year for applicants to go to flight school?
So those positions right now there's a number to that, but we would rather not comment.
What can you tell me about the total length of time that a warrant officer can expect to be in service with the Army?
Upon completion of flight school, that's about a 12 to 18 month period for a flight candidate to go through that process. They will have a 6-year additional duty service obligation to the United States Army at that time.
What are the promotion opportunities during that 6-year period?
Promotion opportunities from Warrant Officer 1, after 2 years we'll go to a Warrant Officer, Chief Warrant Officer 2, and then it'll be a 6-year window before you're eligible to be promoted to Chief Warrant Officer 3.
Is it possible to get trained in multi-aircraft? Can you get trained in, like, for example, an Apache and a Black Hawk?
So multiple aircraft transitions is needs of the Army. So once you get selected, once you choose selection, or it's selected for you on selection day, if you're a CH-47, a Black Hawk, or Apache guy, you can expect to maintain that aircraft for the better part of your career, unless there's a needs of the Army and they offer you that transition. There's certain units out there that may require it to. They're not conventional Army, but it is possible. But I would say at an average, expect to maintain the selected aircraft for you throughout your 6-year commitment.
Okay, and last question is, what are the age ranges that somebody can enter the program, and what's the maximum age?
So right now, it's 17 years of age to even start the process, right? You need to be 18 years or older with a citizenship, and the maximum age without waiver is 32 years.
32? Mm-hmm. Okay, very well. Thank you very much.